Hi, and welcome to the Rural Project. In this mini-series you'll see me turn this sloped land into a flat pad ready for a shed and see me install 2 retaining walls to hold the soil back. And if you like these videos, don't forget to click like and subscribe. So the way that I tackled this was to first understand the levels and the location of the shed. So I set about marking out the shed and working out the levels once I knew where the shed base would be. You don't really see it in the camera images, but I ended up needing a stepped height of just over 1.4 meters from where the shed would be to the top of the wall, and that then allowed me to work out what the retaining wall needed to be. So I went with a 2-tier wall, 4 beams in the first row and 3 beams in the second row. I then set about hiring an excavator and set about removing the soil. So the starting point on this task was to actually go in and cut down the slope to the actual grade of where the shed base was going to be. So I basically dug a trench down to the right level, and that trench was positioned where the outer wall of the shed would be, noting that the retaining wall would be just over a metre away from the outer wall. So that actually then gave me an understanding of sort of how deep and what I was working with. As you can see, these photographs sort of show that trench, and then I was just pushing the dirt behind me as I was working. And as you can see here, working late into the night on the very first night of having the excavator. So at the end of day 1, I had a trench that was at grade and was level. What I then did was mark where the first tier of the retaining wall would be, and excavated back into the hill, removing all the soil up to that retaining wall line and making sure that the grade matched the original trench. I continued excavating to the spray paint mark for quite a few hours, and as you can see, once I got more and more into it, the amount of soil that was being removed was quite surprising to me. and it didn't take long before I actually lost my original trench in all the dirt that I was removing, so I had to resort to using the laser level again. At about lunchtime on day 2, I'd completed the excavation for the first tier, and I set about augering the holes for the retaining wall posts. So these are steel posts, H and C section, and I was augering down to a depth of about 1.5 with just over a metre of post sticking out the ground. The plan there was that I was setting all these in concrete. What I was also doing is I was using a two string system where the top string was actually marking the height of the post, and then the lower string was actually marking the back face of the post, and then I was using a spirit level just to make sure that when I put the post in it was plumb. It seemed to work pretty well, not perfect, but yeah, it certainly helped us and made sure that we got them all aligned. So it looked quite neat once we'd completed it. And at the end of day 2, I had all the posts for the first tier of the retaining walls all set in place, all aligned to the string line and all set roughly at the same height. So I was really sort of pleased with the amount of work that we'd got done. What you can clearly see in these photographs is the amount of soil that was removed and the height of the pile of soil, how quickly and easily it grows. All of that soil will need to be removed in the future. Day 3 was another early start. Day 3 saw me making a start on the second tier. So I needed to excavate the earth in that area, remove the excess soil and earth, find the correct grade and cut back the soil so that I could actually start the augering process. With a bit of practice under my belt from the previous 2 days, it didn't take me long to get this soil cut back. Plus I was also removing a lot less soil than I was on the first tier. As you see here, what I did was marked out the centre line of the retaining wall and then also marked where the hole positions needed to be. It was then time to start augering the holes to the correct depth, which I did over the next few hours. Once all of the holes were augured to the correct depth, I dropped the post into each hole and set about concreting the posts in position. What I did this time to make things easier is I set the 2 end posts, set them accurately first, and then run the string line between those 2 and made sure that all the other posts in between were accurately set to the string line and accurately set the same height. Well, that resulted in this image here of 2 rows of perfectly set posts, all ready for the beams to be installed. If you tune into the next video, you'll see me continue with this retaining wall, so click like and subscribe to make sure you don't miss it.